black cat, ubiquitous in tales of black magic and witches, often serving as a familiar to the practitioners of the dark arts. The domain of dread has these creatures in abundance. Lesser known, however, is a creature that shares in its form, if not its function. More deadly and less subservient is the unfamiliar. Preying on those who have started on the path to the dark side, the unfamiliar will provide great boons and benefits to you. However, most of its victims will never suspect their helpful new pet of pushing them along the winding path of evil until it is far too late for them to turn back. Once the unfamiliar gets its claws into you, the line between master and servant will dissolve, leaving you to wonder if you were ever in control in the first place. Appearing in the second edition supplement Children of the Night, the Ghost Cat was just one of the many creatures featured that built off of what came before it in Van Richtens' Guides to Ghosts. Separating this supplement from the other Monsterous compendiums is that it contained both a stat block and description, as well as a short adventure for each named monster. In fact, I could sit here and rattle off a bunch of stats and abilities and why you should be terrified of this creature in game. But I think the best way to do it was with a good old-fashioned story. And for this particular story, I have taken the adventure Expiation that is included with the Ghost Cat and turned it into a loose narrative adaptation. I've taken some of the liberties and changed some of the things, as any good DM is wont to do. I've also left off a good bit of the ending to avoid spoilers. This is a cautionary tale. One mistake, one untimely misstep, and you never know who will take notice, or where that witness will lead you next. The night was foggy outside of Mordenshire. Bryn and Trevathan were in trouble. Bryn had not set out to kill this night, but a botched robbery of herbal supplies bound for Dr. Van Richten had left blood on his hands and a stain on his soul. His lack of remorse was almost as unexpected as his new sense of power. Fleeing to a rocky cave in Arden Bay, the pair had no time to reflect on the night's horrors. On their tail were a group of pursuers, witnesses from the town meaning to bring them to justice. Closing in now, Trevathan pulled out his dagger and prepared to make a stand. Bryn searched desperately for a means of escape. Out of the corner of his eye, he spied some movement. A black cat on a small ledge, grooming itself. Pausing, it looks straight at him, and then jumps down and nuzzles against the wall. Bryn watched as it scratched the stone and disappeared right into the spot marked. Could he have blinked? Surely he must have imagined things. Short on time, he would investigate the stone, finding that it actually concealed an entrance to a secret room. Who built it, who put it there, it didn't matter at this point. At the last second, Bryn and Trevathan were able to slip in and close the secret door behind them. Their pursuers were quick to fill the cavern. Heavy footsteps sloshing in the waters of low tide were almost drowned out by the calls of, "There! Over there! I saw him run into this cave!" But the group would not find their marks. Bryn and Trevathan would remain hidden for the night. Sleeping as comfortably as one could while tucked away in a secret cavern, Bryn was awakened by something. While listening closely to the sounds of his partner sleeping, he could hear the unmistakable sound of purring coming from down by his feet. He would reach down to feel a bundle of warm fur exactly the same size and shape of a large cat. It purred even more loudly after being touched, giving a small lick to his hand, and Bryn, feeling somehow safe and secure, drifted gently back to sleep. At this point in the story, we can see the unfamiliar laying the trap for its new victim. The ghost cat will be drawn to a PC who has recently committed a vile act. In the case of this story, it is Bryn's recent act of murder. Appearing only to its target, it will offer its services, be a helpful new friend. But as we shall see, its help will come with a hefty price. The pair would leave in the morning. Bryn's new accomplice was nowhere to be seen. Must have sneaked away in the night, he thought. Concealing themselves as best as possible, the pair would make their way back to Mordenshire to try to offload their ill-gotten gains. Procuring a room at the Bleached Mermaid Inn and blending in with the sailors from a newly docked vessel, the pair decided to lay low for a while. For the next 2 days, off in the distance, wherever Bren looked, there would be that cat, just sitting there, watching, his stare ever falling upon Bryn. And every night when he went to sleep, somehow his furry friend would find a way into his room and take up residence right at his feet, purring and giving comfort to his new friend. Trevathan would claim to have never seen him. It didn't matter. Bryn was just getting used to having it around. On the third day, tired of laying low and growing ever restless, the pair decided to head to the ruined chapel on the outskirts of town. Finding anything left there worth plundering was a long shot to be sure, but one can only sit still for so long. And wouldn't you know it, there digging in the falling leaves off the trail up ahead on their way was the cat. Meowing to Bryn in a voice that it seemed only he could hear, trying desperately to get his attention. Bryn ran to the spot where it was digging, Trevathan following close behind, but confused at his friend's urgency. As they approached, the cat took off, leaving only the disturbed ground for them to find. Pushing aside the decaying leaves and dirt, Bryn could see the familiar white shape of human bone. Taking the next few minutes to dig the soil out from around it, they would find it was the skeleton of a human. Clothes almost completely decayed to nothing, his equipment long gone. However, Bryn would find a ring still clutched in the hand of the fallen man. Surely this was something of great importance. This couldn't be a normal ring. He would keep it for himself, not saying anything of the find to his partner. After all, it was his cat that had led him there. Trevathan didn't even believe it existed, calling him a figment of his imagination. Well, no, he wasn't, and it didn't matter what he thought, because now their friendship was paying dividends.